The warning lights blinked softly on the old trader outpost's perimeter gate. A sandstorm loomed on the horizon, its rust-colored swirl crawling across the desert moonscape like a slow-moving beast. Inside the compound, the last human on Calyx, 3 was adjusting solar shields on a storage shed, unaware that destiny was already knocking. Elias Brandt had chosen isolation after the war. A grizzled ex-medic from the Earth Coalition, he now lived alone, tending crops and machines in the dust. He spoke little and trusted even less, especially after seeing what the conglomerate did to refugee colonies. His neighbors were rusting windmills and the occasional buzz of comms traffic he ignored. But that evening, as the sun dipped behind the Twin Peaks, he caught movement on his surveillance grid. A flicker near the food locker. A blur that didn't belong. He grabbed his plasma wrench and stalked through the back corridor toward the storage bay. The door was cracked. Inside, someone was hunched by the ration crate. "Don't move," he barked. The figure jerked and turned. A woman. Not human. Blue skin shimmered in the dim light. Her hair, silver white, clung to her face with sweat. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She clutched a protein loaf like her life depended on it. "I said." She dropped the bread and fell to her knees. "Please," she rasped, voice cracking like glass. "Please, my child is starving." Elias froze. Not because of the pleading, but because of how broken she looked. Her arms were thin, muscles trembling from exhaustion. Dust caked her clothes. One leg was wrapped in a crude bandage, stained dark. He didn't lower the wrench, but he didn't move either. "You came here to steal," he said flatly. She nodded. "I had no choice." "Where's the child?" She pointed weakly to the doorway. "Back in the ravine. Too weak to walk." He should have called the outpost marshal. He should have dragged her out and secured his supplies. But instead, Elias exhaled sharply, set down the wrench, and said, "Get up." The child was barely breathing. She was wrapped in torn thermal cloth, lying beneath an overhang in the ravine outside the compound. When Elias lifted her, she didn't stir. Her skin was the same pale blue, and her cheeks were hollow. "She hasn't eaten in 3 days," the woman whispered. "You crossed a desert wasteland for 3 days to find me?" Elias muttered. "You have food, water, solar." Rumors said a human still lived here. Rumors were right. Lucky you. He carried the girl back to the compound without another word. They stayed in the medical room that night. Elias rehydrated the child slowly, administered a mild stimulant. By dawn, she blinked open her eyes. "Mama?" The woman choked back tears. "I'm here, Elia. I'm here." Elias watched from the doorway, arms crossed. "What's your name?" he asked eventually. "Leora," the woman said. He nodded. "You and the kid can stay. For now." Over the next week, the storm buried the outpost in sand. Leora and her daughter remained in the spare hab room, eating rations and sleeping mostly. Elias didn't speak much, but he watched. She was strong, despite her thin frame. Smart, too. She asked before touching anything. Helped in the greenhouse. Repaired a broken drone without being asked. He never mentioned the theft again. And she never tried again. One evening, while checking solar diagnostics, Elias asked, "What happened to your people?" Leora hesitated. "We were part of a displaced caravan. After the last purge on Vex 9. Conglomerate?" She nodded. "They called us non-compliant. Said we were a drain." "I saw what they did to non-compliant colonies," Elias muttered. "They called it pacification. I called it genocide." Leora looked up. "Then you understand." He met her eyes. "Yeah, I do." Over the weeks, Elia recovered. She started laughing again, especially around Elias's old repair bots. She called one Bobo and insisted it followed her everywhere. Leora began cleaning up the place,
cooking,
fixing damaged panels. She never asked for favors and never crossed boundaries. But one day, while working together on the water filters, she said softly, "You've saved us. We have no way to repay." "You don't owe me anything," Elias cut in. She turned. "Then why? Why help me?" He paused, then said, "Because someone helped me once, when I was broken and didn't deserve it either." Trouble came in the form of a low-altitude shuttle. It roared in unannounced one morning, kicking up dust and cutting across the sky. The insignia on its wings sent a chill down Elias's spine. Conglomerate Recon. "Get inside," he told Leora. "Hide the girl. Lock the room. Don't speak unless I tell you." She obeyed instantly. Two officers stepped out, helmets glossy and boots clean. "Elias Brandt," one said. "We've been monitoring unregistered power signals." Elias gave them nothing. "Systems ancient. I fix what I can. We're doing routine sweeps." "You've had no visitors?" Elias's jaw twitched. "Just me. Ghost town otherwise." They scanned the compound. Elias held his breath as they passed the storage and the locked medical room. Then one paused at the greenhouse. "Strange. You've expanded your crop yield by 23% this cycle. That's an unusual surplus for one man." "Been lonely," Elias said coolly. "Gotta keep busy." The officer squinted. "Keep it that way." They left. Elias didn't exhale until the shuttle vanished over the ridgeline. That night, Leora stepped onto the porch where he sat watching the stars. "You lied for us," she said. He shrugged. "Wasn't their business." She stood quietly beside him. "You risked your life. I've had enough years alone. Maybe this was worth something." She sat next to him. Their hands brushed on the old bench. Neither pulled away. Months passed. Elia grew stronger. Leora smiled more. The compound came alive with laughter again. Music played from an old Earth radio. Bread baked in the solar oven. Even the repair bots started wearing ribbons. Then one night, Elia fell asleep curled beside Bobo, and Leora leaned against Elias beneath the twin moons. "My people would have called you a guardian," she whispered. He looked at her. "I'm no hero." "No," she said. "You're better. You gave life when others gave orders. Mercy when we expected violence." Elias didn't reply, but he reached over and held her hand. In the far reaches of the galaxy, news would one day spread that a forgotten human saved a starving child from extinction, that a thief and a soldier became something like family, and that, even at the edge of nothing, humanity's greatest strength was never its weapons, but its heart.